First things first, the game absolutely needs to work. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but when you consider how bad of a release WWE 2K20 was, plus the releases of Cyberpunk, Battlefield 2042, and the GTA Remastered Trilogy, yeah, I think it's fair to say this game absolutely needs to be playable. My name is Zango, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at some must-have features for the upcoming AEW console video game. Now, at the time of this video, we actually don't know the release date or even the name of the video game, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to pretend that we're doing this with a clean slate, all from scratch. The first feature is an important one. We're going to be discussing community creations plus a good creation suite because, well, it's actually really important to promote the longevity of this game. It's going to be really common to hear me talk about how video games need to include longevity because nobody likes spending $60 or $70 on a video game only for them to stop playing 2 to 3 months in. Now, community creations isn't the solution to WWE 2K's problems, but it does help that in 2022, people still have access to use community creations on WWE 2K19. And this is why it's so incredibly important for AEW's video game to have a good creation suite, plus the ability to upload them online for other people to download. AEW has a fantastic roster, and if AEW's video game engine is really good, people are going to want to have that same experience while still using created wrestlers from WWE, New Japan, Impact, ROH, and so forth. The second feature that I would like to discuss today is probably the most controversial, but it is one that I do think would be great for AEW's upcoming video game, and that is the Battle Pass. It was famously introduced in the Fortnite video game, as well as Call of Duty Warzone, Halo Infinite, and many other titles, but I think a wrestling video game could actually benefit from having a DLC package implemented into the Battle Pass. In the past with wrestling games, you've had to pay $10 or $15 for DLC packs, which would include multiple created wrestlers or moves or whatever it may be. I do think this would be a marvelous strategy for AEW and Yukes going forward. I think instead of doing traditional DLC, you could charge $10 for a season. Within each season, you rank up, and then you could start unlocking attire, entrances, arenas, finishing moves, downloaded wrestlers, and so forth. I know that microtransactions are essentially a part of every single video game, but if AEW can minimize microtransactions and add more value to the Battle Pass, I do think they'll receive less negative feedback from wrestling fans everywhere. Also, what really matters here is what does AEW provide within the $60 or $70 video game? If they're giving you a really good roster with really good movesets, a Battle Pass is just going to seem like it's an extra addition to the game, not an essential part of the game where you have to pay extra just to get things that typically would come with the game otherwise. I know this third feature sounds like an absolute given, but unfortunately in years past, the ball has been dropped too many times. AEW's video game needs a very strong online ecosystem immediately at launch. I think it's incredibly crucial that a wrestling game has a good online ecosystem. The idea that you should be able to wrestle against other friends online shouldn't be a hard concept to follow, but unfortunately, in years past, it seems to be a major issue. Now, AEW including a great online ecosystem could allow for the game to have longevity. If you couldn't tell the trend in this video, every feature helps promote longevity in this game. We want to focus on how to extend the lifespan of a wrestling video game, and unfortunately, wrestling games with story modes kind of just stop there. I think if AEW does create a strong online ecosystem, people will immediately play with their friends on launch day, and I think we'll see even more and more players play as time goes on. I also think this is a great feature for those who do content on YouTube because we have seen some great modes like Universe Mode or GM Mode. Now imagine if we could do something like that in AEW's video game with our friends online, and imagine if it worked flawlessly. And I do genuinely believe that if AEW were to implement a strong ecosystem for its online features, then it would lead to some great opportunities that lie ahead, which actually leads us to our final feature of the video, and one that I think would be really awesome to add, and that would in fact be online ranked competitive gaming modes. We've seen this across the board with CSGO, Call of Duty, Halo Infinite, but we haven't seen it in a wrestling video game. And of course, with Kenny Omega having huge interest in the esports community, I think what better way to implement this this mode than to do it on your own wrestling video game. And I do believe that if AEW's video game were to include ranked competitive gaming modes with that strong online ecosystem, not only will you be able to satisfy the casual fans, but you'll also be able to satisfy the hardcore fans. And I do think this could lead to tons of opportunities for AEW's video game getting coverage at different events. And of course, with Twitch and YouTube streaming becoming a big thing with tournaments and things like that, I do think this could be really strong for AEW's overall presence in the video game community. With that being said, I want to know what you guys think of today's video. My name is Ango. This is Ango Plays. I'll be bringing you AEW video game coverage, WWE 2K22, gaming, retro games, live streams, all that good stuff. Whatever it may be, this is the place to be. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and slap that like button and subscribe.